Hey, and what's up? It's me, and this is episode 21 of GG3. I'm actually recording this semi-timely. Really, it's like the weekend before it should be aired, so it's probably gonna be about a week delayed. Hopefully. If there are no editing issues, obviously. I never really know what to talk about in the beginning of these videos before, I show what I've read. So I'll try to think of something, but for now I guess we'll just get right into it. This is what I've been reading for the past while.
Bat vs. Bat. Justice League Warpath. Gender swap. Haters gonna hate. I sacrificed 3 of my minions to summon. Blade, where are you? What about Buffy? Today's episode is brought to you by the letters OMG WTF. Who are you gonna call? Ninja Ghostbuster! Never had a friend like me. What's going to happen when the pension runs out? Run away and never return. I'm trying to be like you, my boy. One hell of a battle. Mr. Sun, Mr. Golden Sun. Tales from space.
Now, for my Grand 3, it is Dark Crisis number 1, Survival Street number 1, and DC vs. Vampires number 6. First up, Dark Crisis. So, we start off with Superman and the Flash fighting Cobra because apparently Cobra Commander was tired of fighting and losing to the G.I. Joes. So he wanted an easier opponent. Superpowered people and aliens. So, after that, Black Adam is telling everyone else what happened to the Justice League. I don't know what happened to them before. I think there was a number 0 for this Dark Crisis, which I did not read. But he was saying that they were fighting some people and they were getting their asses beat. And only Black Adam was able to escape. And he says that they all died for like the 10th time. So John has decided to start a new team, and he goes first to Wonder Girl, who basically laughs him off stage. Then he goes to Batman, who is basically the same as Bruce Wayne Batman, and tells him, "I work alone." But John doesn't give up, and he asks a bunch of other people, and he gets a mixture of answers: yes, no, busy. But yeah, whatever. He goes through all those people. Now later, after all this, John's talking to Black Adam, and he says, "I know what we need." Then he holds out his arms in a grand reveal of the new Justice League. Which is funny, because you can imagine when you're introducing someone that you know to some new people, and they're just like posing how like Robin is. You can see him right there.
What the dog doing?
Maybe I should start posing when people introduce me to new people. But anyways, Black Adam was not very impressed, and this must be what he saw, because Black Adam wasted no time in roasting John and the new team. And he says that John ain't no leader, and we all know who that would be. and then he flies off. After this, we cut to Nightwing at Titans Academy, and everyone is happy. And then, boom! There's an explosion, and every villain bum rushes the tower. Then we cut to some guy talking about using the death of the Justice League to destroy the multiverse. He looks familiar to me, but I don't know who he is. And that's the end of issue number 1. So I like this issue number 1 because I guess it kind of centered around John for the most part, and I feel like this is a common thing every time I say in the video. I don't know anything about him, so seeing him, I felt bad for him whenever he was going around asking people to join his team, and they're like, no. And then Black Adam putting him down, saying like, look, he said you're trying to run, yeah, I think run before you walk or run before you fly, whatever analogy he used. But yeah, I enjoyed seeing all the cuts to all the other heroes, especially it was, well, like a lot of the new ones that came out, so like Wonder Girl, the new Batman, oh, I think it's gonna kill me, Joe. I forgot her name for a second. No, Damien's not really new, but yeah, a bunch of them, and it's kind of seeing just a little glimpse. But yeah, it's just entertaining to me overall, and I hope John succeeds, I guess, in proving Black Adam wrong and living up to the name, I guess. Next, I'm going to talk about Survival Street number 1. So, I had to read this first page a couple times because when it comes to politics, I'm not too bright, to be honest. So, basically what I took away from this is that companies are allowed now to run for public office. So instead of contributing money to other candidates, they withheld the money and they used that to help themselves secure a seat. And a new legislature was passed, which allows these companies to take over different states and run them how they see fit. So now it's 2028 and we are on the set of a show called Salutation Street, which is obviously supposed to be Sesame Street. So first, there is one puppet there, but they don't mention that. I'll mention that one later. Anyway, so they talk about the puppet named Corporal Fairness, and he's talking about how life isn't always fair, and when we see people at a disadvantage, we should try and make it an even playing ground. Sounds like some words that can be applied to now. But as he said, life ain't fair, and of course, right after that, bam, some agents bust in, shut down the whole show and the network down, and tell them, y'all homeless now. So we skip to 2031, and we see this trailer home at a border crossing, and he's asking, or the border patrol officer is asking a bunch of questions to the driver, and he is, I guess, harboring some of the puppets in the back, and one of them sees not that officer but a different one talking to what I can only assume is some other homeless family. It's like a mother and her 2 children, and he's like, I can't take anymore, and he fires a rocket off. I don't know if at them or just in general, we have this big explosion, and then we go to a news report which has a puppet saying that America should never have let these puppets into the country in the first place and allow them to influence their children. Talk about friendly fire. So after this, there's a man holding an event to talk to his fellow rich people. I'm assuming this is like one of the owners of these companies that I guess run one of the states or whatever. And he's saying that that there's so many separated and untraceable migrant children that he's going to organize some type of auction where these super wealthy people can basically bid for these children. And I guess by doing it this way, there won't be like any, it says like no red tape, very little like I guess government involvement, and it's just no questions asked basically. He also mentions that some luxury oceanfront condos, which I'm sure he's the owner, and they talk about how some of the floors are underwater. I think like, I don't know how many, I think it's like 1 or 3 or something like that. Point is, some of it's underwater, some of it's above ground. Now there's a group of puppets from Salutation Street and a human named Mr. Burton planning on breaking into these condos and stealing money from the rich people, and also to to free these children. What the plan is they're gonna have Mr. Burton buy his way in and pose as a waiter. Meanwhile, the puppets swim underwater and enter through one of those underwater floors of the oceanfront condos. Then they meet up with Mr. Burton, and one of the puppets named Gurgle dresses up as one of the waiters and goes around with a machine that they rig to collect donations from the rich people for themselves in an offshore account. Hippie is put in charge of rescuing those kids that are locked up that are going to be auctioned off, and Herbert, personally my favorite, is in charge of securing an escape route, but he overhears some guards talking about what they're going to do with the kids that they buy, and he can't hold back, and he shoots one of them. Pew! And the other guard recognizes him as Corporal Fairness, and he's like, "Nah, I'm Corporal Punishment now." Pew, pew. The final 2 members are Tony and Birdie. They are in charge of placing scramblers around the place to jam radio signals, radio frequencies, except for their walkie-talkies that they brought. So while Birdie is sneaking around and I'm putting up these scramblers, she sees one of their old friends who also was from Salutation Street named Irma, and she's roasting puppets again. One thing I didn't point out though about Gurgle is a recovering ice cream fiend, and she's gone 73 days without a scoop. So while she's posing as a waiter, another one comes by and they're pushing a cart and there's some apple pies on it. Well, no, first they say it's time for dessert, and Birdie overhears this like, "Oh no, Gurgle, don't." And it's like, "Apple pie." And they're like, "Oh, phew." And they're like, "A la mode." And then Birdie's like, "No, don't." And Gurgle relapses. And then after this, the plan kind of starts to go off the rails, and everyone starts to run through their own issues. While a hippie is running down the hall, some guards come and then people are shooting at them. So all in this commotion, Gurgle gets into the same room as Irma, and Birdie's still up top, but she sees that Gurgle is in trouble. So Birdie hops down and saves Gurgle. So in that whole thing, they're about to be caught, but Herbert set up explosives to help with their escape, and he set them off. And then that also set the other people into a panic. So Irma's, I guess, bodyguards escorted her out to her vehicle, and in the meantime, all the puppets are scrambling to get the children out and also all of them out. So when Irma enters her limo, somehow Birdie is already in the front seat, and Birdie asks Irma if she was lying to everyone before while they were on Salutation Street. And she responds, both and neither. Because it doesn't matter what they say on TV before. If people didn't watch to have their minds changed, but they watch whoever tells them what they already believe. And sure, they could have quit, but they would have just recast and the show would have gone on.
Facts don't care about your feelings.
She then offered Birdie to work for her and they could make money together, and she was saying like, we're always better together. So all that dies down. Birdie returns to the group after they escape, and she still has the card Irma gave her, and she's thinking about what she said. And that's the end of issue number 1. What I enjoyed about Survival Street, obviously it weak spot childhood memories of Sesame Street. So seeing like these people who are obviously supposed to be like some of them just changed. It was funny. And I don't know. I feel like I enjoy like when they have a show and it's like a kiddie presentation. So it's like, we'll say like maybe cute animations or puppets, but it's like it's adult. I find that a funny combination. So shows like Greg the Bunny, and I guess you could say it's kind of like Greg the Bunny and is it Team America kind of combined. I'm sure there's other shows that are like this, but yes, I find those kind of things funny, and I enjoy them. So, and it wasn't a different that it was in the comic. I still enjoyed it, so this is probably something I'll keep reading. Finally, we got DC versus Vampires number 6. So when I first read this comic, or these comics, I read the when they were in the Crypt special, I think it was called. So it actually had issues in about 2 of them. So there's Crypt like number 1, number 2. The first one I believe had 1 to 3, and the second one had 4 to 6. So what I had to do was kind of go back and split up each issue and read each issue and pick which issue I enjoyed the most. And I was this close to picking 2 of the issues and putting them on my Grand 3, but I was like, no, must have variety. So I picked issue number 6. So I guess kind of to get up to speed with it, basically a bunch of heroes are being converted into vampires, and the vampires overthrow the humans. I think it was because some like change in like leadership, and the previous leader was maintaining the peace, but this new one doesn't, blah blah blah. So but the thing is that they don't know who is a vampire, and slowly some the heroes are disappearing or they're finding their bodies.
Oh no!
So Batman has called his Bat family together to find out who are vampires, and eventually they discover the Green Lantern and Wonder Woman are vampires within the group. So yes, that brings us to kind of, there's stuff missing, but I think that's basically what you need in this issue. Batman, Green Arrow, Robin ×2, Red Hood, and Batgirl. Is that her name, or Batwoman? I think it's Batgirl. Anyways, they're in a warehouse after a little tussle at the Batcave with like some mix of the Justice League and vampires. So Green Lantern and Wonder Woman just waltz in the door, and they're like,
Howdy, bitch!
And the next round starts. Now, after a short tussle, Team Batman and Green Arrow got the vampires on the ropes, but Green Lantern's like, okay, playtime's over, and he grabs up everyone.
Gotcha, bitch.
But Alfred has got other plans and disarms Green Lantern.
Oh, brother, this
Yeah?
guy stinks!
Okay. there's another group searching for Joker because they believe he's the Vampire King, but and all his blood is drained, so he is no longer a suspect. So Batgirl calls and tells Batman the Vampire King, it ain't Joker, and it's one of the people within their group. Batman's about to tell the group, and Batman gets fisted by Nightwing. And he reveals that he is the true Vampire King. Now Nightwing starts beating everyone back while Damian is having a breakdown, and what I am assuming is a power boost like Gohan. Now he got Tim Drake robbing on the ground and his food on his head, and he says, "Let me show you something I learned from Gears of War." And he curb stomps the life out of him. Damian starts attacking Nightwing with his new power and proceeds to get turned to a vampire. Next up to the plate, Red Hood, and he's actually doing pretty good. And then Wonder Woman jumps in and gives him a love fight. Wonder Woman tries to convert Red Hood. He's sitting there trying to fight the transformation, saying,
"Do it! Do it! Come on! Kill me! I'm here! Come on!"
And then Green Arrow shoots him. I guess it's an explosive arrow, and he tries to sacrifice himself in hopes of taking out everyone there. Unfortunately, it doesn't work. Now things are looking hopeless for the world, and that is the end of the issue. Now, why I picked number 6 as my favorite, just so much stuff happened. Okay, not so much stuff, but unfortunately the cover for the Crypt one kind of was a spoiler, because it had Nightwing on the front as a vampire, so you're gonna kind of assume he's a vampire, or I guess maybe he becomes one, I don't know. But anyways, so when Nightwing, I guess, stabbed Batman, it was surprising that he stabbed him, but I wasn't surprised that it was Nightwing. So everyone dying. It was funny, there was I guess between this group and the other group, it was like a change in art, it seemed like. That's one thing I didn't really like in this issue. I don't normally pick on things I don't like in my Grand 3, but the story was good enough to carry it through. And it was honestly between this issue and number 1, because in number 1, initially I'm spilling each other quickly. Green Lantern is already a vampire, and he takes one of the heroes, creates like a blender, blends them, drinks them, at least some of them, because that's a lot of blood and guts. Then he pours the rest down the sink, and I was like, damn. But yeah, first I was gonna pick that one, but then when I was rereading them and rereading 6, seeing how much stuff happened and how chaotic it was, I had to pick number 6 as into my Grand 3. And there you have it. That's my Grand 3 for this past month. Thanks for sticking around. Hope you guys should read. I even gave it to Anika because I really enjoyed it. The DC versus Vampires. If anything, read the Crypt special one. So it has, as I said, collecting 1 to 3, then 4 to 6. I still think I haven't read the last one. 7? Is there a 7? I don't know if there's a 7 or not. But yes, I highly recommend any of these. But if you're gonna read one of these out of them, I would say versus Vampires. Oh, and even while I was writing stuff, it's a running joke among my group of friends that I will watch or read one episode or issue of something, and I'm like, yeah, I liked it, and I'll never. So on that note, I think I'm going to try, I don't know how I'm going to do it first. I guess another kind of series thing. It's going to be called One and Done. I'm thinking I'm going to talk about like comics. I guess it's gonna have to be no comics. So first issues, well, not just TV shows, manga, anime, anything that I watch the first thing of. And if I really don't like it, it's a one and done. And then I'll probably talk about it. But I don't know how I'm doing that yet. Yeah, I'm hoping it's probably gonna be shorter than GG3 because doing this already and editing all this is enough. So it's gonna do another thing like that. It needs to be like a short thing. I'll give you more information once I figure it out. Thanks for hanging around. You be good. I need some type of send off, but I don't got one. So see you later.